Wanted to take today to address a very common question clients ask me, and that is, what do I order when I go out to eat? And so this is pretty variable. It really depends on the dietary protocol that the client is following, but there are some general recommendations and things to consider across the board. So the main one with restaurants is understanding that they usually don't use the highest quality of fats to cook and also the highest quality of animal proteins. Okay, so if someone's following a low carb diet, they're avoiding gluten, they're avoiding grains, they tend to go for the meat and vegetable option, which I think can be very appropriate, but it is important to understand that if you are consuming vegetables that were sauteed in, canola oil and or fried in a different type of vegetable oil, and then having a big thick cut of red meat that's pretty fatty, you're actually taking in some very inflammatory ingredients. And so it's really important to understand that. Now, an alternative is to maybe inquire about the fat that the vegetables are cooked in and maybe get them steamed instead, and or get a leaner cut of animal protein. Okay, so chicken tends to be a little bit leaner. Poultry in general is a bit leaner than steaks and other red meats, but that's just something to keep in mind. So what happens is that in conventionally raised animal products, the toxins tend to reside more in the fat. And so when you take in a fatty cut of meat, you're taking in endotoxin, and it has potential to wreak havoc in the body. And so you want to be mindful of that, just, when you decide what to order. Alternatively, you also want to think about the fats in the dressings, the sugars in the dressings, and the other creams and sauces that are going on the dish. So again, there tends to be pretty poor quality fats in the dressings that are utilized, and they also are pretty sugar ridden, and so you want to consider that. I know it sounds kind of weird, but sometimes I have clients that actually pack their own dressing. They actually have their own olive oil that they take, and I know that sometimes that's frowned upon, and it's actually, the restaurant doesn't usually like that, and often they don't know about it, but it just kind of depends on how strict you want to be following your diet. So I don't know. If you're also not going out to eat very much, I say you can indulge as well, and it's not going to be the end of the world. But if you're someone that goes out to eat, for work or just because you enjoy it a few times a week, you are going to want to be pretty mindful of your intake and consider the fats and the quality of the animal products, and maybe inquire a little bit more about the ingredients of the plate that you are ordering. Okay, so keeping that in mind, and if you have any questions, let me know.